wants president again, he has a big plan to either lower your taxes or completely get rid of. Plan number one is to completely eliminate taxes on tips. So if you make a living from earning tips, no more taxes for you. Plan number two is he actually wants to completely get rid of the federal income tax system and replace it with a tariff system. A tariff is essentially a tax placed on a good that is made in another country and shipped to the United States. Here's how a tariff works. Let's say country A, the United States, makes really cool socks and it costs them $10 to make this sock. Let's say country B, China, makes the exact same sock, but it only costs them $5 to make the sock. So essentially what they can do, China, is sell their sock directly to the people in the United States for $7 and they can make a profit. But what that happens is it makes the USA very difficult to compete with the $7 because it costs them $10. So what happens in return is that the USA has to fire people lose jobs, and the American government hates it. So what the government decides to do is introduce a $5 tariff, meaning that they would have to now sell this sock for $12. And this makes the sock company in the United States very happy because they can still sell their stock for $11. They can stay in business and still keep jobs. But that's essentially how tariffs work and why we have them. The tariff money actually goes directly to the United States government to help them run the government. Another thing that helps run the government is income taxes. So what Trump wants to do is eliminate income taxes and raise tariffs significantly. So now they can depend on tariffs to run the country and not your taxes. What's important to note is that the importer pays the tariff, not the exporter. So China is sending stock to Walmart, and right now the tariff is $5. What Trump wants to do is maybe increase that tariff to, I don't know, $9. But what happens here, since Walmart is paying for that tariff, generally what happens is that the old price of the stock may have cost $10. But now since they're paying an additional $4, it generally gets passed down to the consumer, the person actually buying it. So the new prices in stock could be $14. So with the tariff system, that means that everyday items at your local store can be much more expensive. Experts are estimating that a middle-income family could pay an additional $1,700 per year with the system. Lastly, it's important to note that this is just a campaign proposal. It would have to go to a ton of Congress to actually get approved. So right now it's just an idea or a plan.
So I recently saw this article right here about Donald Trump and him wanting to eliminate income taxes. And being that I own a accounting firm called Pie Accounting, go to pieaccounting.com, check it out. It sparked my interest, so I wanted to check out the article. But I also wanted to kind of get a vibe of what social media was talking about, what the world was thinking. So, watched some TikTok videos, found one like this. And honestly, the article is kind of giving its opinion as well. And it's similar. There's this idea that paying no income tax means you're going to pay more somewhere else. They got to get the money somewhere. From what I was watching with Trump and what I read, he thinks he's going to make it up with tariffs, charging 50 to 100% on top a tariff to make up for the losses and federal income taxes that the government's not going to get it if they cut it. And I don't think it's as simple as that, but I also don't think we're not going to improve with our current situation. Let's say the government does impose these tariffs, they end up needing more money. They tax us. It ain't going to be what it is now. It wouldn't need to be, right? There's also, this whole idea that federal income tax was never a thing. It was only a thing when there was wars and we needed to fund wars. The country would come together, federal income tax would be collected to help fund the war. This country was supposed to be built differently, like not have so much taxes. And we haven't been in war, but we keep putting ourselves in situations where I don't know foreign policy like that. So I'm not going to say none of it is necessary to go in and manage conflicts going on in the world. But I also know it's not perfect. And there's definitely self-interest when we go out there. And that's what our tax dollars are funding, that military. We need protection. We need defense. And I'm good with that. It's what makes America, America. But do we need to increase costs by going and using all the stuff we're investing in? Does it need it every time? I don't know. There's this whole idea that this country was never built on that. We're not, and we're not supposed to be getting a federal income tax, and our country will still thrive on it because our country was never built on federal income tax. There's the argument by decreasing federal income tax. People will reinvest their money. More money would be spent in this country, increasing the GDP. The country would also make back a portion of it in volume. Maybe each individual isn't taxed 40, 50%, well, 20 to 30% in federal income taxes, but the economy will grow so much that the country will get it on the back end anyways, because people are pouring their money back into the country. More jobs are being created, all that good stuff. This article, it talks about the states increasing their state taxes in order to make up for the money they wouldn't get from their income taxes. I feel like I have to do a deeper dive on that. I'm not understanding how that would happen, but they might be right. So let me do some research on that. Bro, this is the stuff right here that the media does and never has any consequences for this. This is crazy. Like, how do you not fact check this? And the thing is that this is on Yahoo Finance, but the original article is on gobankingrates.com. So it's crazy how like this, I never heard of this website or whatever, but it's crazy how this can reach Yahoo and trickle up to the masses. This article is trending. And this article, the writer is saying that if Trump removes, look at how they twist this stuff. Trump is talking about removing federal income tax. He can't remove state income tax. He's talking about removing federal income tax. They're two completely different things. But in this article, it's saying that if Trump eliminates income tax, again, not defining whether it's federal or state, then states who don't collect state taxes, like Florida, Nevada, Texas, they'll miss out on all that money. I didn't know that that these states were surviving off of federal income taxes. Now, there is something that Trump is doing that could affect these states and their taxes, and that's eliminating property taxes, I believe. Because I believe that would affect states, because a lot of these states that don't collect state income tax, they make it up in other ways. Like Florida, they do it through their tourism. They tax the tourist and make it up that way. I believe Texas is like oil. Arkansas is Alaska is oil. They figure it out in different ways. Sales tax is higher. Property tax might be a little bit higher. So that could affect those states, but I don't think that much. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. These states that do make some money from property taxes, it's a fraction of the whole pie. So it will affect them, but they'll figure out. I would think that most states would be able to figure it out. Even if they got to start charging a state tax and it's like 2 or 3%, that's better than paying federal income tax, right? So another concern of mine would be the cost of goods, going to the grocery store, things like that. I mean, a pair of sneakers. If you're going to put those type of tariffs on imported goods, man, these Nikes about to be real expensive, guys. At least that's a lot of people's opinion that can happen. Well, eliminating federal income tax offset that because Nike doesn't have that cost, maybe. Because even if they do a 50 to 100% tax on their goods, that would mean like a pair of Nikes that, they would import for $20 is now 30, $40. If a pair of shoes sells for $150, that extra $20 is more like a 15% increase on that good. Would Trump then offer some type of tax incentive or some type of tax credit to Nike so that they can build their manufacturing factories here in the country, and that'll help keep the costs down while providing more jobs and increasing the GDP? Would Americans care as much if their shoes go from $150 to $185, but there's better paying jobs, inflation has been controlled, and there's no federal income tax? Maybe. You could build a case on either way, and I'm starting to feel like what Trump's trying to do, I'm leaning towards that being a better option than what we've been doing, right? So far, but we're not done with this article. We're not done. All right, this article is getting worse and worse. In this article, she also states that state income tax could still apply, affecting everyone's tax burden that's on Social Security. You just insinuated that Trump eliminating federal income tax would also take away state income tax, which would really hurt states and their revenues. But now you're saying that state income tax could apply And so that'll affect people who collect Social Security. Bro, the reaching, there's definitely an agenda with this article, and they don't even see how much they're reaching with this. I could care less. I'm just trying to understand, what's better for our country. These ideas, they're different than we've tried in the past, and I can see the argument for why it would work, but we're not done. Another point she made about the tariffs and what that could do is it could increase competition. And so product prices, higher demand and competition could increase domestic product prices. Let me dig deeper into this article because ain't no way she's serious. This is a trending article. I'm looking for that part of the article. But while I was reading through, she also says in this article that if income taxes are cut from the equation, property taxes could also potentially rise. Except Trump said that's as part of his policy, he also wants to cut property tax. So that was a better argument for it affecting the state than the argument you had originally made. I get a feeling like you're writing about economic policies and taxes and you don't quite understand it. That's kind of what I'm getting here. Is that a normal thing with journalists? If this policy comes to pass, foreign manufacturers may raise their prices, meaning imported goods would cost more. While one solution to this is to have consumers switch to domestic products, that's kind of the idea. These items could also become more expensive as demand and competition increases. If competition increases, that means there's more supplies. If demand increases, it meets the supplies. If competition increases and there's still demand, usually what happens is in order to compete, people will either increase quality, innovate, or lower their prices. Kind of like what Tesla's been doing to the EV market, what Elon's been doing to the EV market, completely taking out the competition because they can't operate in those margins. I mean, that's great for car buyers. That's terrible for me. I have 3 Teslas and it's completely destroying the value of these vehicles. So again, I'm not seeing that argument. That argument's tough for me. Okay, another thing that she says in this article is that these tariffs or eliminating federal income taxes, it could impact tax deferred retirement accounts, meaning that traditional IRS 401ks, if what your most popular retirement accounts, that they might lose their tax advantages. Why? Because there's no federal income tax. It doesn't decrease their IRAs or their 401ks. It doesn't decrease their investments. They didn't lose anything. They still have it. It's just now available for everyone. I don't get that argument. And he's not eliminating capital gains. I don't think he said anything about eliminating capital gains tax. No, actually the IRAs and the 401ks will still be an advantage, especially your Roths, right? And then your traditional IRAs would just stay the same. So I'm not getting this argument. I'm not the most educated person, but this is a passion of mine. I started a company. I obviously don't do the accounting, the bookkeeping, the financial advising. I don't do any of that stuff because I'm not licensed for it. I just put up the money and had the vision for it. And I have the audience and the ability to bring in the clients. This company grew to 220 clients in the first year that we've been in business, or over 200 clients in the first year we were in business. For an accounting firm, that's pretty good. At least I'd like to think. That's just me because I have a passion for it. I don't think the average person has a passion for this. And I don't think the average person owns an accounting firm. So I'm always around it. But for your average person reading this is very convincing. It sounds like she knows what she's talking about, but she doesn't. It doesn't really add up. It's kind of all over the place. Employers could charge retirement. She also says that employers could charge retirement benefits based on new tax laws. Is there somebody signaling that? Is there like a trend of businesses that are saying this? Has it happened historically? That's a good idea, man. Like if I were you guys, I would go in when there wasn't federal income tax, maybe after the first, I think World War I. I think after World War I, they took away federal income taxes for a little bit. And then World War II happened again. And then they brought federal income taxes back. And I think after that, they just kept it. But what happened? Did companies start doing that? And remember, this is a time where pensions were still a thing. Unions were still a thing. I mean, they're still a thing now, but they were really popular back then, right? At least I think. But employers charging retirement benefits based on new tax laws, why would they do that? Why would they do that? I don't understand that. They would just make up their losses by raising prices if they have to. Like we said, if they go up, if Nike goes from $150 to $185, are there more pros to getting rid of federal income tax and property tax? Probably. And then you can control inflation better And then maybe wages will catch up because inflation's not going crazy on us, right? It's a theory, but we haven't tried it. We tried everything else. At least that's what I think. You know, I don't want to sound like I'm attacking the journalist. She probably did her research and just didn't kind of understand it so much. Or I could be wrong. But even if I am, I think that TikTok video made a real solid point, is that what makes our country great, man. This country definitely ain't perfect, but it's a great country. I love being American. All of these policies, whether I'm right or the journalist is right, all of them have to go through levels. You have legislation that has to pass it. They have to look at it, they have to pass it. They use their experts to figure this, you know, it's not perfect, but it's the best system that I could think of. And with all these checks and balances, you hope still things slip through the cracks and affects our country in a negative manner, no doubt about it. But just like we are not perfect in life and we make mistakes and we, you know, it's not a perfect line up. It's peaks and valleys. Get it right, get it right, get it right, get it wrong. Get it right, get it right, get it wrong. Get it wrong, get it right, get it right, get it right, get it right, get it wrong, get it wrong. You know what I mean? Like, there's more rights than wrongs. That seems to be how our country has always been. And that's how life is. As individuals, as groups, as companies, as families, marriages, I have faith that the majority, not everybody obviously, but the majority of people, this country's best interests in mind, because their family live here, their kids' futures are in jeopardy. But I'm liking the idea of no federal income tax, man. And then he talked about making the corporate tax one flat, 15%. Flat, just 15%. Now you can't have all these loopholes. You know, you got I think there's an argument for why Amazon didn't pay taxes for a very long time. And I think the argument is strong for Amazon. I'm not knocking Amazon for not paying taxes, because the government, what Amazon has done for the quality of life in this country, the jobs it's provided, the sales taxes it's brought the federal government, the property taxes, the income taxes, it increases our country's GDP. So they get a lot of these tax breaks for that reason. But I think at 15%, everybody's happy. There's no more loopholes. There's no more, because there are some bad actors that take advantage of these. There's Amazons that don't help the country as much. That doesn't help the quality of life of the average American. And they take advantage of these corporate tax breaks, a lot of times illegally. But this 15%, it might actually increase, even though, you know, this company A was paying 30%. Now they're paying 15%. There might be enough companies slipping through the cracks that if they are for sure paying 15%, it balances out, or it increases the revenues, you know, that the government's taking. I don't remember us ever trying that. So that's kind of where I'm at. Let's try it. All right, y'all. Let me know if y'all like this content.